제가 그때 시즌2 때부터 게임을 시작을 했는데 시즌3 롤드컵부터 그때부터 제가 경기를 보기 시작한 것 같아요. 배운 게 좀 많았어요. 그리고 제 자신도 나중에 저렇게 할 수 있다 그렇게 믿고 있었죠.
약간 신인이긴 한데 쉽게 중국에서 뛰던 온 선수고 처음엔 잘한 거 보여줘도 이게 얼마나 유지되냐 그게 문제이기 때문에 이번 시즌 끝나야 할 것 같아요. 솔직히 뭐 지금 포스로는 탑3라고 말할 수 있겠죠.
존경하는 선수죠. 되게 힘들 것 같아요.
그냥 저라고 쫄지 말고 사실 안 쫄 것 같긴 한데 쫄지 말고 그냥 평소대로 하던 대로 하면 될 것 같아요. 자기 실력대로.
아무래도 임팩트 형이 저보다 경험이 많고 경력도 많기 때문에 좀 배울 게 많다고 생각을 해요. 노련함 같은 거를 좀 경기에서 좀 뺏어가려고 해요.
Welcome one and all to the North American LCS. Here in Hollywood, fans are feeling the hype for a Sunday full of flashes and dashes, TPs and team fights, barons and brawls, all as our teams battle to be the best in the region. Well, the teams are getting set up as we speak. Santorin here prepping to go up against his former team in TSM. On the other side, setting up, here's Hanser and the Monster getting ready to face off against Quas in the top lane. That should be an exciting matchup. Over in the theater, though, Xpecial is readying up with his fellow bot lane partner, Apollo. They're going to be facing off against Smoothie, who's on support for Cloud9 in Game 1, as they always keep us guessing with who's playing what in terms of that support positioning there. Hello, everyone, LCS super fans, and a very happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I'm your host, James Patterson, and joining me again today are these two sharply dressed men, Mark Zimmerman and Alberto Crumzangifo. Did you guys give your fathers a call?
Yep, gave him a call about a half hour ago.
Nicely done. Mark, what about you?
I will do that as soon as I can. Putting it off. Just gonna keep.
Oh, yeah.
If he's watching, he knows I will call.
All right, there it is.
Video evidence.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, defending champs Counterlogic Gaming, they did have a rough start to the spring split, but could be starting to bounce back after returning to their roots and closing out Echo Fox 2-0 in quick fashion yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I think this was one of the most interesting things, was seeing Darshan back on Jax. He had a really dominating performance in both games, really opening up the map for his team. And this is the kind of performance we're going to want to see again today. This is probably the most interesting match that we're going to see, so we want to see this kind of resurging CLG.
So while they did look good macro, I'm taking this game with a grain of salt because Echo Fox just didn't really seem to try anything at all during that game and just rolled over. So it looks really good because CLG is at least making strides and getting back in form, but they're going to be up against a good opponent now that is going to actually, put them to the test in terms of not just their mechanics, but just their macro overall, because Envy has shown to be a team that focuses more on the team play as opposed to the individual.
Yeah, some of the fastest games of the split yesterday put up by CLG. Of course, their opponent today in Team Envy suffered their first loss yesterday against Immortals. But even in those losses, they looked pretty good.
The thing that surprised me the most was the fact that they fell behind early but still managed to make plays. I think that's the hallmark of like a team that knows what they're doing, is that they don't rely on some early game lead that then snowballs them to success, that they can actually go out and find their own plays. So I expect them to really challenge CLG, even if CLG uses their lane swap to get ahead early.
The only concern I have for Envy coming in is Ninja's positioning. Time after time again, he's been put in positions where he's basically costing the team the game. If he just dials it back a little bit, I'm sure that Envy can just win as a whole, but we don't need to be making any individual plays in this game anymore. So every time that he's leaving his team behind by trying to make a play on his own, it's resulting in a very poor game. And
Game 1 was essentially lost off of a misposition from Ninja.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they can clean that kind of stuff up, both those games were very winnable yesterday. Now, something to keep in mind is the fact that they, as a team, do play these super long games. You contrast that with the fact that CLG played some of the fastest games we've seen all split just yesterday. How do we expect this to clash? Do we think Envy's ability to extend games will still be workable against the likes of CLG?
It'll be interesting. I'm not 100% sure because CLG traditionally were a team that was super good in the late game. In the run to the finals and winning that last split, we saw them take a number of super late game team fights and make some good macro decisions that won them those games.
Right.
But in this season or this split, it doesn't look like that team at all. So you know, Envy is going to really push them to that late game situation. We'll see if they still have that kind of talent.
All right, well,
I don't think a team being a team that focuses heavily on the late game and mid game makes them necessarily a worse team than somebody that can push the tempo early, as long as you can hold on to the game. And Envy has shown that they can do that, especially against Immortals, a team that you'd expect to be able to close out very quickly. They held their own and were able to win. Both games were very winnable. I think that whether a team falls behind early or not, both of their mid-game and late-game decisions are strong enough that the early game should not mean too much.
All right, well, that matchup takes place a little bit later today. Another team that I want to take a look at is a team that actually isn't even playing today. They've already finished their week in Team Liquid. Now, they took a risk subbing in Fabi this weekend, but they came away with a 2-0 finish. So is this the beginning of a Liquid resurgence, or how should we be tempering expectations moving forward?
Well, just like kind of with Envy when they were, kind of dominating early on, we need to see them against some of the more difficult teams. This was an easier week, combined with the fact that you tied into last week's wins. None of those were like super dominant teams, and you want to see how they perform. The Fabi coming in is an interesting storyline. I think it wasn't just get him experience. I think it is legitimately like, how does Fabi play with this team?
Right.
Because they're going to scrim more with him. We heard that they were using him in scrims throughout the week, and it's this kind of thing where they'll probably actually be deciding pretty seriously between Piglet and Fabi in the coming weeks.
It's a matter of what do you prefer more, a team synergy or individual skill? Because easily you could say that Piglet is better than Fabi as an individual player, but how much does he mesh with the team? And it's a matter of the game is evolving to just so much about teamwork and understanding your teammates' needs on a personal level as well, that is Piglet really the candidate for TL now?
Just to piggyback off that quickly, is the meta change, as we've been saying, is it's a lot more utility-focused AD carries. It's not like this, destroy them in lane focus. So I think that's something that could fit a player like Fabi better.
One of the most intriguing things about League of Legends being a sport is the fact that the game does change, and therefore the requirements of players, right? The definition of a good player in this game is very different from that of any other sport. Let's review, though, the standings before we go into today's matches. TSM is remaining undefeated and leads the pack with Immortals and Team Envy 1 win behind in second. Cloud9, Apex, and Liquid, they all have 3 wins. Liquid with an extra loss, though, putting them slightly behind. And CLG lead the bottom teams with 2 wins. And like each and every LCS Sunday, we've got 2 streams warmed up and ready to bring you too much action for one channel. So on NALCS 1, look for Energy and TSM to lock horns, followed by Fox and Immortals in the second series. Now the Battle Theater and NALCS 2 gets underway with Apex versus Cloud9, and then we'll dive into that CLG versus Envy matchup. We're still keeping tabs on all your favorite plays from the day's action, so when you see something, say something. Hit us up on Twitter with hashtag LCS Big Plays. That was there was one moment yesterday you were calling out from Phoenix 1 versus Apex with I Heart Magikarp writing, "What a QSS by Mash." Let's take a look.
He's going to get some damage onto Gate as Phoenix 1 are running away. A huge cleanse from Mash gets him out. There even goes the ace in the hole, and they escape.
Hey, Captain Jack there for Mash immediately uses the cleanse. And this right here. All right, let's see. How good was it? It was great.
Wow.
It was great.
Frame perfect. Literally,
yeah.
the character model does
Yes.
not stop moving, so he essentially did not get stunned.
If people haven't seen it yet, check out the Sivir Captain Jack clip where he just like QSS's, gets the spell shield, uses cleanse, just never stops autoing throughout this team fight despite an enemy just throwing tons of CC at him. It's a classic play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Google Captain Jack QSS, it'll be the first thing that pops up, and it is spectacular. Mash doing his best impersonation there. We'll keep sharing your favorite highlights, and we'll climb, or rather comb through your responses and highlight your tweets alongside the day's biggest moments at the end of the show. In case you haven't heard, the North American Finals is headed to Canada on August 27th and 28th. You can watch the best teams in the region battle for the title of champions at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Ontario. Tickets will go on sale Wednesday, June 22nd, so mark your calendars. And for more information and purchasing details, head over to lolesports.com/tickets. In the meantime, feel free to join us every weekend at our studios here in Los Angeles. Tickets for all the bouts in the Battle Arena and Battle Theater are available on lolesports.com, so grab some friends and join us for a healthy dose of live LCS action. We're ready to get loaded up onto the rift, so let's pass it off to the casters to get the day underway.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Battle Theater. My name is Dominic Romer, and casting alongside me today is Isaac Azale Cummings-Bentley.
Happy to be here. Really excited for this game.
Yeah, we're going to be getting into Cloud9 versus Apex for our first series of the day. We've seen both of these teams play this week against very different opponents in very different series.
Yeah, Cloud9's match this week was against TSM. It was a big one. They did end up falling, but it was 2-1. It was very close. TSM as a whole, did look better, but C9 looked very good themselves. There was some kind of miscues though, but in general, I think C9's bot lane especially really did shine. Sneaky as well as Smoothie was looking great in their Game 2 win.
Yeah, they certainly were. And on top of that, Jensen in the mid lane looked absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, Jensen was fantastic, as he pretty much always is. One of the very best mid laners here in North America. In my opinion, probably the best. I think that he is an absolute playmaker. He's fantastic for the team. He's always consistent, winning lane, up in CS, high damage contribution. So just fantastic across the board. Impact, on the other hand, he's been a bit more up or down. He's had some really crazy games. Game 2 that they did take off TSM, he was really kind of carrying that. He did get a solo kill, 1v2 kill, was doing fantastic. The other 2 games were a lot more of kind of swing and a miss. Game 1 on Shen, he looked a bit uncomfortable, and in the last game on Trundle, he was getting caught a lot. So, he's been up and down. He has had pretty good stats overall, but he needs to be consistent, and he needs to be a steady performer for the team. But it's not just all on him. Cloud9 have to play well around him, as they did look a little not on the same page.
Yeah, well, on the other hand, Apex were able to claim victory yesterday, led by strong performances from Keen. And while Cloud9 had to face the first-place team, Apex were able to take a win over last-place Phoenix 1.
Yeah, Keen is a guy who's always very, very flexible. He plays a lot of different champions. He's a pretty unique player in that way. He's always kind of developing new strategies, new interpretations on whether it's the builds or which champions work or unique counter matchups. He's never afraid to bring out different stuff, whether it's mid Graves or Jarvan or whatever. And, back in the day, the Hecarim home guard stuff. So he's definitely, a big player for the team. And in the top lane, it's going to be Ray. This guy has been fantastic for Apex throughout the season. He's been someone who they put a lot of focus on. They want to get him ahead. They want to get him Rift Herald and really allow him to snowball his advantages. And especially when he is going up against Impact, who has been a bit more inconsistent, this is something that Apex could look to exploit and really try to put the focus on Impact, get Ray ahead, and allow him to try to carry the game.
Yeah, it'll be up to Cloud9 to play around that. But before we get into the game, Jensen tells us how his relationship with Meteos has changed since he first joined Cloud9.
The biggest difference to me between me and Meteos back then and now is I feel like now he actually has some sort of respect for me. Like, I think back then he didn't actually think of me as maybe like a top type player, and now he probably thinks differently. So I think it helped a lot that last split I had a pretty good performance during the split. So I think he has more respect for me now, so I think that helped a lot.
Trust among the teammates is so incredibly important, especially in League of Legends, because it's all about split-second reactions, split-second calls. You have to have the trust in your teammates and be able to follow those calls.
You have to know that your team is going to be able to support you if you make some sort of crazy plays, or if you're having a tough game, that your team will be able to back you up and get you back into that. But with that, we're ready to get into the starting lineups. First up, it's Apex Gaming. In the top, you heard from her earlier, it's Ray. In the jungle, Shrimp. In the mid lane, Keen, AD carry Apollo, support Xpecial, and their coach, Saint Vicious.
And their opponents today are going to be Cloud9. In the top lane, you have Impact. Your jungler will be Meteos. Mid laner, Jensen, and the bot lane duo going to be Sneaky and Smoothie. And they have Coach Reaper here helping them out.
Yeah, Smoothie coming in for this first game as well, right off the bat. I'd love to know how Cloud9 determine who's going to play which game.
We all want to know the question on everyone's mind, but so far it just seems like they're swapping it up back and forth, trying to really try out both players a lot. There may be kind of some behind-the-scenes strategies to this that we're not really aware of. People have been saying, hey, maybe it's about champion pool, but then when they played against TSM, it was barred 3 times in a row, and they swap back and forth. So we don't really know. Both the guys have been playing pretty darn well. So, excited to see what they're going to bring out today.
Yeah, we certainly are. As we enter into Champion Select, Azir is the first thing banned away from Jensen. Huge damage per minute on that guy, so no surprise that's taken away. It's going to be Fiora and Trundle banned away from the 2 top laners, so it looks like both Apex and Cloud9 are aware of that top lane opening, and even Vladimir.
Yeah, Azir has been a big one for Jensen. He's been an absolute monster on it throughout the season, always bringing the bad lane threat. He has the mechanical skill to bring in the stream of shuffle as well. Trundle, something that Impact has been relying on quite a bit, picked it twice against TSM, really a dominant laner, something that they're going to want to take away from him. And, Fiora, that's one of Ray's specials.
Yeah, it certainly is. Bard now banned away from Smoothie, so we could see if he tries to prioritize that Karma that he's been so fond of. Once again, still going through the bans. Interestingly enough, no one has touched the jungle yet, and with the final Rise ban, that leaves it wide open.
Yep, jungle is going to be wide open, but there's a lot of strong picks. You don't have to be too worried as long as you're comfortable, going tit for tat. It's different banning strategies. Normally, if no one bans it, there's not really the force of hand to ban out a jungler. So people used to kind of do trading of bans, and now a lot of teams are just leaving it wide open. Maybe take the Rek'Sai, give away Nidalee, or vice versa, things like that. So there's a lot of different strategies around that. Vladimir and Rise being taken away here, though. Keen definitely very strong on the Vladimir, and that champion in general has been an absolute power pick in the LCS.
The Rise as well, and looks like Apex looking at their first picks right now. Rek'Sai being hovered, 15 seconds left. He hasn't shown us anything else by toggling away, and he's actually going to lock it in. Rise for Shrimp.
Yeah, so it is going to be that Rek'Sai. Not too surprising here as the first pick, but this allows C9 to have a chance to answer back with 2 power picks. You talked about Karma, that's been highly prioritized. Zyra, something that some teams are ranking extremely highly, while others are completely ignoring. So it's kind of interesting to see what the strategy there is going to be if C9 does have some priority placed on this. Aurelia, another pick that has been going pretty commonly in early rounds. Victor, something that Jensen also really likes, and it's a pretty safe, stable pick that works into a lot of different champions. So there's a lot of options here in the first round for C9, and it's going to reveal a little something about their drafting strategy so far.
Yeah, still 15 seconds left for that first pick. You saw the Fizz and Aurelia hover, sort of a call out to Ray, who plays both of those to great success, but it's actually going to be Sivir and Braum locked in for Sneaky and Smoothie.
So we'll be the C9 bot lane. A lot of team fight prowess here coming out. They're obviously not going to be going for that dominant 2v2 lane. They're not taking a ranged support. They're not taking a strong dueling AD carry. So they're going more for that team fight potential. And to me, that's showing that they're probably already going to be one of those teams where they're going to have a pretty strong front line. Maybe impact on a tank or a fighter, someone who wants to get in there, utilize the Sivir ultimate.
Very strong engage from Cloud9 and disengage if they so choose. And with that, it's going to be Karma locked in for either Keen or Xpecial, and Apollo going back to that Caitlyn. He played it 3 times in a row yesterday.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty frightening bot lane for C9, assuming that the Karma does go to Xpecial. Definitely something that they want to lane swap away from. Not looking to lane against Karma and Caitlyn, 2 of the most dominant in their role as far as laning phase goes, as the Braum, as the Sivir, who are not nearly as strong in the actual laning phase. Braum going to get poked out a lot, although Sivir has great wave clear. You can try to push. You're exposing yourself to a lot of poke if you do that. So we'll see where it is going to go. And we have seen more flexibility from the Karma recently. It was played mid lane yesterday, so it definitely can be swapping around. And it's going to be Shen once again. So Shen and Kindred as the picks here for C9, and definitely going to be strong team fight from Cloud9.
Yeah, certainly is. Lots of mobility with the teleport on that Shen and the Stand United. And Meteos returning back to that Kindred. We'll see how he does throughout the jungle as Apex. They've got 40 seconds for their last 2 picks. Looks like Cloud9 are actually going to save their counter pick for not Impact, Jensen.
Yeah,
in the mid lane.
Makes a lot of sense. Jensen has been one of the guys to carry the team through a lot of games, and a very powerful player. Going to allow him to have a chance to get the best possible matchup for himself. Shen being picked just kind of blindly into the top lane is something interesting. That's a little bit new. We've seen it traditionally in the LCS as kind of the Aurelia counter, or counter in like quotation marks, I'm going to say, because it hasn't always worked out. We did see it played by Cloud9 the other day. Impact was pretty hit or miss on it. He wasn't really connecting with a lot of the taunts, and you need to be able to nail those. It's all about that CC.
Yeah, but the answer for Apex, Ray got to play against it a lot yesterday. He thinks that Ray is going to be what burns that Shen down.
Yeah, Rumble is actually pretty brutal for Shen. It's one of those things where if they're left alone in an isolated matchup, one of the strongest parts about the Shen is your parry, right? You're able to block a lot of auto attacks. That's really something that's going to help you out. Well, guess what? Flame Spitter doesn't care. You can actually just sit there on hold position with your Flame Spitter going. If Shen comes forward into that trying to last hit, he takes a lot of damage. At the same time, Rumble is someone who's very gankable. Kindred, pretty strong early jungler. Shen has really fantastic gank assist. If Rumble finds himself in an awkward position, not going to have a good time getting out of that. And for the mid lane, we are having Victor locked in, so now it's up to Jensen. What does he want to do? And with the hover on TF, it's going to be locked, and it's going to be very much a kind of global comp. They have 2 globals, both in their solo lanes. They have a lot of ability to move around the map, but it does require them to be proactive. You cannot sit back on your heels and wait for the other team to scale up, because as far as team fighting prowess, both Ray and Keen are going to have massive teamfight ultimates. A lot of AoE magic damage coming out from Apex. They're going to be very powerful. C9 is going to want to spread out the map, find picks, look for engages with Shen ults, with TF ults, with the Sivir engages. They need to kind of try to pick apart Apex and go for more of a macro split push type game.
We'll see if Cloud9 can tear Apex apart. We saw the loss that Apex suffered yesterday to Phoenix 1 was when they couldn't respond, when they couldn't make plays because the enemy team was responding. And Cloud9 has got the sort of global composition to react to that this time around.
It's going to be pretty exciting. I do think that it's going to be a very even game as far as that goes. Very AP heavy for Apex. That is one thing that you always kind of have to have in the back of your mind. If the Caitlyn does get taken out and the rest of the team is building heavily into MR, it can be problematic to kind of clean up the team fights. But at the same time, massive AoE ultimates from Apex. If Cloud9 ever gets bunched up and gets caught by a Rumble ult into a Victor ult, it's pretty much lights out.
Yeah, pretty big wombo. But Twitter is the place to tell everyone who you're rooting for in this match. Apex fans shout it out with the hashtag APXWin. And C9 supporters use hashtag C9Win. Let us know who you think is going to take this game number 1 as we load onto the Rift for Apex versus Cloud9.
Can't wait. I love the global comps. I think it's so much fun to watch people try to pull off the TF and the Shen very well. When it works, it's a thing of beauty. It looks great, right? And when it doesn't, it tends to fall flat very quickly because when you get behind on these champions, when you're not able to make plays around the map, your teamfight effectiveness is much lower than that of their opposing laners. And I'm excited to see early on, what the lane assignments are going to be. If C9 does opt to go into this matchup, and we're actually going for a little early invade here. Perhaps we're hoping to catch someone out with a gold card, with that Braum Q, but not going to be so lucky. Yeah. And now the time does come. Where does C9 want to go? Do they put Sneaky and Smoothie into this 2v2 matchup where Apex should have a significant advantage? And Sneaky is going to just try to like wave clear and kind of just allow his team to get advantages elsewhere on the map and kind of wait for help. But
currently, Sneaky and Smoothie staying towards that bottom side. They got a ward.
They are heading up now, though.
Yeah, I don't know if they've spotted Apollo, and you can see Xpecial's hugging the wall to avoid that vision. He's not actually going to be spotted. So, in fact, with Smoothie heading towards the top side, Cloud9 call the lane swap, and they get away with it.
Yeah, they do call the lane swap, and pretty intelligent. They definitely do not want to be in this 2v2 matchup. Also, you don't really want to let Rumble kind of free farm and get that level 6, get the spell pen very early on, because that's a huge power spike for him too. C9 is going to try to go for an early greedy camp, but Shen is actually a fantastic double jungler, along with the Kindred, does a lot of % HP damage with his Q, so they're going to have no problems at all clearing up this jungle early on.
Yeah, Smoothie, he's trying to do the same thing, but just a little bit too late as Xpecial tries to zone it away. Not quite able to get any. He's just going to take a lot of damage from Impact, who just chases him out of the jungle.
Impact is going to be annoying, but at the same time, there's no real threat without, Taunt or without someone else coming back in. So Xpecial knows he's going to be fine. He picks up a little gold, does a little harass, and in the end, it's a pretty even trade back and forth. Yeah. The one advantage, though, C9 was able to take an additional camp on the kind of weak side of the map. So to speak, because they had that Shen, they're able to get the Gromp out pretty quickly, whereas, Ray is not going to be able to help Leash nearly as effectively, and it's kind of more dangerous for them to go for that.
Minor early advantage for Cloud9. We'll see if they can continue to look for these advantages, as so far Meteos farming it up on that Kindred, and Shrimp doing the same, now going to invade. Ah, there it is. the lane swap cams. Everybody shoves those quick tier 1 turrets.
Yeah, so both teams going to be going for the early trade. 3 members whacking away on the turrets, and likely going to have the junglers come in to support if they decide to keep going. But the most common of lane swaps in NA has really been the kind of 2 for 2. You just take a turret, you back, you go to the other lane, you both trade those. But people are starting to make some adjustments on that because of the priority on the early dragons, especially since it is an Infernal Dragon. That early ADAP, starting to stack that up, people do place a lot of importance on it. So we'll see if Apex is actually willing to swap their bot lane up and try to go for that trade, because it does give C9 the advantage as far as going for the dragon, since their dual lane would be bottom and close to that.
So, looks like recall was completed for Apollo. He's now heading towards the top side of the map. As you can see on your mini-map now, back on screen. Keen going to continue soaking this CS as Jensen shoves wave after wave. And yeah, with the tier 1 secured, junglers are going to get a little bit of a shove, catch up with a handful of minions.
Yeah, so they actually are going to do the swap up, and this does give C9 the ability to try to move towards that dragon, maybe get that early fire dragon and get that stacking. We'll see if they're able to do it, and if they're going to make the call to try to kind of do it, because it can be somewhat risky early on. If you do get caught taking damage from the dragon, you're not really too strong at this point. People are low level, they don't have a lot of items, so you do take a significant amount of damage.
We'll see if Cloud9 move towards that after taking this tier 1, as early recall from Impact is going to let him catch up much faster than Ray, who's only starting to recall now. He was hoping for a hopeful bit of experience to catch up with a handful of those minions. But finally, the lane swap continues as everyone looks to continue shoving those tier 1 turrets. And Jensen doing well against Keen. Oh, he gets stunned and takes a few minion hits, but nothing too exciting is going to happen of that trade.
Yeah, he is doing very well in the lane. He was actually up 10 CS when he based, and he gets the earlier base off. And now he's going to try to kind of freeze the wave in an advantageous position. Make Keen put himself in a little bit of a dangerous spot, deny some of his own minions to get ahead as far as XP and gold. So a smart move, and it's something that does somewhat broadcast that Meteos may be coming around mid lane and they may be looking for that gank, but at the same time, once C9 cleans up this turret, they could just go dragon, so they have some options at least, and it just makes Keen think, especially with his team all being topside, he's going to have to play it pretty safe.
You just saw Meteos, very early pink ward. He's going to drop it deep in the jungle of Apex, and with them shoving that bottom tier 1, they're not quite able to break it down this wave. Seems like they have got their sights set on that Infernal Drake after they take this turret, but
I think they're actually too slow, because Apex has done the top turret a lot faster. So because they took a lot longer doing this bottom turret, we already have Apollo recalled. He's already walking his way down there, so we should have the people around in time for Apex to actually try to deny this if they want to go for it.
Yeah, Apex are there. And Impact finally going to drop the turret. There are 4 members of Cloud9 on this side of the map right now, but as you mentioned, Apex able to take their turret faster and deny that attempt at an Infernal Drake. Meanwhile, Ray has set up a very comfortable freeze on the top side, and Impact is forced to recall.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty brutal spot for Impact, because he's pretty likely to be sent to a lane where he's not going to be able to get much farm, and Ray is already farming away here. The wave is pushing towards Ray, so even if he does have to kind of back off, he's going to be able to collect a lot of this XP and gold. Eventually, you can see a 16 CS to 3 for Ray and over Impact right now, and it's also easier for Ray to farm from a safe distance because he has those harpoons. You can kind of shoot him out, look for the last hits, and Impact is going to kind of just have to hang around here and wait for the wave to really push in and try to collect some of that CS.
Yeah, currently being denied just a bit. Smoothly will head towards the top side with Meteos, as Cloud9 now have 3 members on this side of the jungle. Ray trying to clear out a wolf camp. He will be able to do that. He's spotted.
Yeah, the Wolf Spirit was actually smited away there earlier by Shrimp, so they have that protection in the top side of the map, and Meteos and Professor Cloud9 was spotted moving in. And Apex, as a result, knowing they're all up there, are going to try to push this in and deny as much of the wave as possible from Impact. They actually have 3 guys down here. If Impact gets denied this wave, this could be pretty bad for him, and this has been one of the problems with Cloud9, is that they're not in position to ever help Impact in these spots. And Impact is actually getting engaged
Yeah,
on, does have to flash away.
He just burned his flash.
And he's losing all this CS and experience. This is exactly what TSM did to Impact in Cloud9. You know, they are getting their own push, but they're heavily sacrificing Impact. He's going to be such a weak player in this game.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
See that bottom tier 2 going to drop. Cloud9, though, we're looking for the early inhibitor, and Apex are trying to answer on the opposite side. This is a quick inhibitor rush. Nobody else is recalling. Finally, Xpecial is going to catch up as Meteos gets tagged for a bit of damage. They're trying to break down the tier inhibitor turret, but finally Apex get there in time.
Yeah, they do back off, and Impact, thankfully for him, because Apex did base, he's allowed to pick up a lot of the CS at the turret. Did miss actually quite a lot of that, surprisingly. But anyway, pretty good trade from both teams. It's fairly even on. We do see overall C9 has a gold advantage. Some of that is from Jensen. Also, the stack cards passive, you get extra gold, so a little bit that is kind of lying to you. But Ray is going to be a lot stronger than Impact early on here, and we'll see if he can get that early level 6, get his spell penetration items, and be a real presence as far as those team fights.
Yeah, Ray looking to scale up. Impact knowing that eventually he will have to face off against Ray's Rumble, going for the early Spectre's Cowl and some armor. It's actually only about 300 gold difference between Ray and Impact after all of this trading. Very close between the two. Even the AD carries are dead even. The big gold lead we're seeing are going to be from Jensen and Meteos in the mid and jungle.
Yeah, one of the problems is obviously the experience, though, as well on Ray. He's full level up, and that's a pretty big deal. You know, having the equalizer early on can be massive. And Jensen has been sitting, above level 6. He's had his ultimate active for quite some time and hasn't yet pulled the trigger. We'll see when they do go for that, because that's probably going to be when Cloud9 makes their move for that first blood. And Apex is going to have to be careful, because Jensen is always going to be able to rotate faster than Keen. Not only does he have TP, but he has his ultimate, and they can very easily turn a 2v2 into a 3v2, which could be big for Cloud9.
We haven't seen any movements yet from Jensen as he's now completed his Rod of Ages.
Yeah, Rek'Sai up here on the top side, and
He was
maybe be looking to dive.
Impact knows that he was here. He saw him on top of a ward. He's content to just trade it out. I think that was just to make sure that Impact couldn't freeze it.
Yeah, they wanted to get it in, and I think they actually could have gone for that dive had they known where the rest of Cloud9 was, but they don't want to risk it. Meteos starting up the Dragon here, but Shrimp is already on his way down, and this could be a pretty explosive fight. It looks like Meteos wants to commit to it. We'll see who gets the smite.
He's trying to solo it. Who's going to get it? It's Meteos. He's taking a lot of damage.
Double
There's
ultimate's
a
coming in from
stand
Cloud9.
Shrimp has no ultimate. He's tagged, knocked up, and stunned. First blood, Cloud9. Jensen tries to lock down Keen on the side, but he's taking a lot of damage in answer, and Jensen will finally walk away.
Yeah, Jensen's going to be fine. A great job there by Cloud9. Meteos wins the Smite War. Double global ultimates come in, and C9 flexes their muscles there. That's really a big deal, getting those early kills, winning that Smite War, and picking up the early buff.
Yeah, very good early Infernal Drake for Cloud9. Impact, as you can see, heading back towards the top lane with his teleport, but here's that fight once again.
Here it is. Yeah, here it is once again, and Meteos does land the auto smite at a better time, and it's tough because Cloud9 is going to be able to collapse a lot faster. Their bot lane was already there. The TF ultimate comes in. Impact ults onto Meteos, so this was very much a one-way trip for Shrimp unless he just flashed out immediately. Pretty risky play, and it definitely does not pay off. I think that Apex should have just let it be only him going in there. Everyone kind of like backs off, or everyone had to be there earlier, because there was no way they were actually going to be able to have a team fight in that position. And now a C9 may have caught the Apex bot lane out here. Apollo pretty far up, and he's Zoom.
Yeah, he's out of mana.
I think he's going to get caught.
Let's see if he can escape. He's got flash and heal. There's no tier 1 turret for him to run to. Yeah, Apollo isn't even going to try flashing. Meteos gets the kill.
Yeah, Apollo way too far up there, intelligent to not actually blow the summoners. There was no chance of escape, even if he did. So, that is a little bit of a win, I guess, in a way. But at the same time, Meteos grabs himself a kill. He's already sitting on that Blood Razor, has 3 bounties to his name. Looking great so far for the Cloud9 jungler. And, although Ray is up pretty heavily in farm, Impact has a kill. There's the advantage of the Dragon as well going to him. So there's no real advantages as far as that goes for Apex. Apex is going to have to try to find that team fight and look for the really big, kind of AoE combos, but for C9, they're probably just never going to give it to him, or at least trying not to, and just keep splitting out the map, spreading them open, and looking for those ultimates from TF.
Yeah, Apex definitely going to have to look for it. Shrimp has found Meteos as he base checks into his own side of the jungle. He's got the respite, no longer has any flash. Oh, let's see if he gets over the wall. He does, and Sneaky might be the one who's caught. There he goes. Wait, Cloud9 are turning this around. Shrimp is turned upon. He's still got his flash, but they attack him over the wall. The knockup, and Jensen secures the kill. Smoothie continues to chase
Jensen's
forward.
chasing from the
and
bot side.
Jensen, he's got the gold card. He's going to hit Keen. There's Sneaky. Another kill for Cloud9. They're still able to drop Impact, though. Minor consolation prizes. Apollo drops as well. 5-1, Cloud9. They're not even done. It's going to be a chase for Jensen. He's found Special. Flash Boomerang, and Cloud9 take 4.
Wow, huge plays from Cloud9 there. They pull off the collapse. A beautiful TP in from Impact coming from the bot side to start that off. And Apex just are not respecting the global ultimates, and the pressure that Cloud9 is putting on with this is huge. They're going to be able to clean up the mid lane turret here too and really extend this gold lead.
Cloud9, very aggressive
get it back
turn.
on.
Apex, we saw them struggle with counter ganks in their games yesterday against Apex. So it was only when they had complete control that they looked like they were having a good time. But now C9 goes in.
Yeah, so Meteos with a very quick flash here. He did get the W down on his Q, so he has the Q reset to get over the wall. And this is where they overcommitted. They chased in too far. Jensen's already behind them. Impact has TP'd in. Everyone from C9 collapses. All 5 members here very quickly. You can see Ray already knows this fight's done, so he's already walking back to top lane to push, and Meteos able to ult there onto Smoothie. Smoothie, I think, eventually did actually get taken out. But, you know, Apollo going to get chased down, and Jensen still, with that ultimate available, able to use that and pick up the last kill.
Oh, Impact dueling against the newcomer Ray, the man who was inspired by, let's see if Shrimp can get in there. As Cloud9 turn once again, Shrimp gets caught by a stun, and Cloud9 turn this around. Killing spree for Meteos.
Jeez, they are just killing everybody, and the whole team is getting involved. Kill participation across the board is very high.
Oh, yeah.
The 80 carry is actually 100% kill participation right now, so good stuff from Siki, always being in the right place at the right time. Be interested to see if Cloud9 decides to actually go for that Rift Herald, as they have pretty heavy jungle top priority right now. Meteos 303 is going to be massive on the Kindred, and they may want to try to secure that buff for Shen.
Yeah, very strong. But as we've seen, Cloud9 haven't exactly been the best about prioritizing Ray and enabling him to succeed from the get-go. Whereas Ray, on the other hand, gets a lot of priority from Apex. This time, though, Apex have been trying to fight and skirmish without Ray, and they've been punished for it as Cloud9 turned fight after fight.
Yeah, Impact does get sacrificed a lot by Cloud9, but this game, it seemed pretty deliberate. They were getting even trades on the other side of the map, and he's been able to play it safe. And although he, kind of had to lead a lot of CS, he wasn't giving up any kills. He's picking up farm. He's now even in experience, and he's made great rotations and early impact with his ultimates.
Yeah, just grouping up with the rest of Cloud9. Next Drake to spawn is an Ocean Drake, and once again, Cloud9 have got deep vision. They're already grouped up with their duo on that side of the map. Quick hop over the wall. Very sneaky play from Meteos and Smoothie, but they're spotted out by Shrimp. But Keen looks for another kill. Shrimp gets stunned, but he's over the wall. Impact even joins in. There's the teleports we were talking about. Special takes a few hits. And the gold card from Jensen does not quite catch anyone, as Apex are finally able to get away without losing any members.
Yeah, Ray does have his ultimate, though. They look like they want to chase. Equalizer comes down.
He drops it down. Jensen's kiting it around. Smoothie turns, and Shrimp overextends. He goes down. Impact. Whoa, he's going to be saved by Meteos. Jensen's not done yet. He lands the gold card onto Keen. That Rod of Ages coming up huge. So many bounces on the Ricochet, but they just get the one.
Yeah, Apex really wanted to force something there. They wanted to try to get some kills, chase him down with the Equalizer, but Cloud9 was pretty well spread out. They didn't actually get much of a connection. The only person really getting caught by those ultimates was Impact, and that's easily denied by Meteos. So great job once again by Cloud9 extending this lead and going to pick up another Dragon.
Yeah, very smooth play from Cloud9. This is their second Drake, the Ocean Drake, more sustain. going to allow them to rotate around even more, whereas Apex, on the other hand, now 4,000 gold down. Meteos even denying the jungle camp. He's going to be caught on by Shrimp, doesn't have the respite, hops over the wall. Ray can't quite catch him. There goes the attack. Oh, finally the execution. Shrimp turns onto Jensen, and that's a quick 2 kills for Apex.
I've been down that road before. You want that bounty. Maybe you died for it, but you're going to call worth. You chalk it up to a little bit of an error there, but that's fine. Meteos goes down. Jensen sure to follow, but Cloud9 are not going to lose much more off of this. You know, the Dragon's not available. They're in place to defend mid lane. And there's not really a lot that Apex can go for unless they want to try their luck at the Rift Herald, but that would be pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Finally able to end the killing spree of Jensen and Meteos. Here that is once again.
Yeah, so he wants the bounty, and this is why Meteos is going so aggressive for it. He does get it, but he's going to pay with his life, and Sneaky sees, ooh, this one's not looking so hot. He's going to run out and leave his boys alone. Meteos does go down, and Jensen, who is there trying to help save him, is going to fall as well. So Apex do strike back, pick up a couple kills, and you know, one thing that has to be mentioned, they're actually not really behind very much in gold. So we've talked a lot about how well Cloud9 is doing, but they're only 1.6k ahead, or well, a little bit more now. But it's not a massive gold lead for Cloud9 because Ray has been farming very well. We see CS advantages in the top lane, in the mid lane also.
Yeah, some very big advantages for Cloud9. Apex continuing to farm up rather well, putting Keen in that bottom lane to catch wave after wave. Finally, he's going to head back towards the mid and continue farming up. Now we're 19 minutes in. Rift Herald is about to despawn. And so far, it doesn't look like either team are going to get it. Cloud9 going to deny that for Ray.
Yeah.
And not really looking to put that on Apex, onto Impact.
Yeah, no one's going to get it this game, it looks like. There was a bounty on it, so it wouldn't have been too surprised if Meteos wanted to take a stab at it, but will elect not to do so. We haven't talked about it yet, but Ray also with a pretty neat build here. The traditional build had always been kind of, going to early spell pen, whether it's an Abyssal or just like early working towards Leandries and stuff, and just picking up your Haunting Guys. So you have Haunting Guys plus the Sork Boots, very early spell pen, and you can do a lot of damage with that. Instead, Ray elects to go for the Proto Belt, so he can kind of dash in, has a little bit more playmaking potential and chance to kind of get on the back line with that Flame Spitter, building towards Zhonya's now, so he can kind of hop in, drop the ult, turn on the Flame Spitter, and then Zhonya's, and it's pretty cool. May get a chance to see that shown off later on. He hasn't joined a lot of fights, but he is 1-0-1. He's up 40 CS. Ray doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, and from what we've seen from Cloud9, it seems like they're prepared for this. They're continually splitting up. They're not letting themselves get caught out of position by Apex, and they're ready and willing to turn this around. So Ray really going to have to look for an opportune moment to get that AoE combo down.
Yeah, that's what they're always going to be looking for. Apex has a lot of team fight power. Cloud9's always going to have to be careful about that. Even with a gold lead, they're not necessarily going to have easy 5v5 fights. So they need to play it safe. They need to play it careful. And they're doing just that. They have Jensen now starting up the split push. He has his Lich Bane completed. So if he ever gets alone time on a turret, that is going to be toast. And they're going to have Impact able to respond with the ultimate pretty easily.
Yeah, it's going to be a very scary Twisted Fate. Cloud9 getting deep vision in Apex's jungle, but just a few seconds ago, Apex were able to get some wards of their own, so they know that this is going on. They know to play it safe. Apollo trying to catch some minions on the bottom has got to be careful he's not collapsed upon. That's why we see Xpecial and Shrimp waiting just outside of vision, but nobody's defending mid. Sneaky, whoa, takes some big damage, blows on the hunt. Rylai's has already been finished. Sneaky tries to turn it around. As Smoothie catches up, there's a stand united. They're finally able to drop the turret, though.
Yeah, they do get the turret, and Apex has to back off. Nice ultimate in from Impact because Sneaky got caught by that Rylai's slow. He would have been in trouble. Impact responds, save his AD carry's life. They pick up the turret. Good job there by Cloud9. And yes, although Apex was aware of that incursion into the jungle, it was mostly just about getting vision down to allow Jensen to safely split push. And at the same time, while that fight was happening mid lane, Xpecial cleaned out a lot of that vision. You can see that the deep wards from Cloud9 are pretty much all gone. They just have one in the Wraith Pit and one in that kind of banana brush above red. And this pink ward has actually been there for a very long time. That's something that is always a little bit funny to me when I'm watching pro play and those stick around, because that's something that you need to be able to kind of train yourself. When you walk by there, when you're walking red, when you're walking gold, just always check that brush. It's so common, and You'll find that a lot in solo queue as well. When players do put a pink ward down there early, you can have it last almost the whole game, even at high elo.
You play a very different solo queue than I do. Your team wards?
I ward.
If the pink ward isn't in the mid lane bush, then there are no pink wards.
Fair enough.
That's the level we're talking about. But Cloud Drake is going to spawn up in 40 seconds. And Cloud9 already putting Jensen on that side of the map. And C9, though, they look to clear out vision on the top side of the jungle. Could be looking for a pick. Might be trying to bait Apex forward. But I don't think Apex are going to fall for it. They've grown wise to these sorts of
But
pick plays.
once again, Jensen back in the bot lane, Impact in the top lane. They're always going to have the ability to collapse with globals, and no one is answering Jensen right now. And as we talked about, Lichbane done. Once he gets up to this turret, it's going to be taking a massive amount of damage very quickly. The only thing is Jensen does not have a lot of wards, so he doesn't feel safe to actually put too much pressure. So once Cloud9 gets more vision on the bot side, he can push more aggressively, but they can do this kind of back and forth dance, pressure the Baron, draw someone down to the bottom, and have Jensen either continue pushing there or TP up top, ult up top. So they have a lot of options.
Yeah, right now there's no one from Apex to defend that bottom lane. Impact continuing to split on the top side. Apex trying to defend in the mid. It's 1-4 split versus 1-3-1, and Cloud9 will eventually whittle down that bottom tier 2 turret. Apollo's trying to make it there in time, while the rest of Cloud9 are continuing to dance at the Baron. Such clean macro execution, and Apex aren't responding fast enough.
They really aren't. They're just feeling a little bit paralyzed right now. They're not sure where they should go because all this vision has been denied. Cloud9 has full vision control around the Baron, multiple pinks, one in the pit, one outside, so there's no way that Apex knows what's going on inside. And this is really smart play here from Apex, and eventually, or rather from Cloud9, eventually someone has to face check.
Yeah, they're actually going to try countering by shoving down mid lane, but they're against a Sivir, who immediately clears out the wave. Jensen splitting in the bottom will drop the tier 2 with no response from Apex, and Cloud9 take yet another advantage.
Looking good, everything going according to plan for Cloud9 so far. Ray at least got to take out the pink ward in the pit, and Cloud9, does have to worry a little bit about vision there, but instead, Meteo's just going to walk down, take a pretty easy dragon here, as Apollo has base, and I don't think there's going to be any contest whatsoever. So a third straight dragon for Cloud9, and that's a big deal. I mean, when you get to the Elder, if this is going to be a game that goes late, that adds true damage burn, your bonuses get multiplied, so it really does start to stack up a lot.
And it seems like from Apex, we're seeing the same problems that they showed yesterday in their loss against Phoenix. When they're behind, when they don't make a concrete decision, they end up looking a bit paralyzed, and eventually they just end up losing the game from a bit of passive play.
Yeah, to be clear, though, they did take that series. They did just lose the one
referring
game.
To the one,
but,
yes.
Yep. But either way, I do agree. It can be one of the things that some of the teams start to struggle with is when they get behind, they become very scared to make plays, and when you're not making plays, it's very hard to ever get back into the game. So it's something Double was talking about being aggressive, about making plays, being proactive, and it's something that I think all great teams really have to be able to do in order to get back into games when you do fall behind. We'll see if Apex is able to do that. They're always going to have a very strong scaling team here. Their team fight is very powerful, and they're not out of this by any means just yet. They're just going to have to find that one team fight and try to get a lot off of it.
Yeah, it definitely could be one of those 40 minutes, 50-minute team fights that they're looking for. Win one and push to end the Nexus, which isn't so common anymore, thanks to a patch a little while ago. But again, Apex might be getting a little bit hopeful with that, as now it looks like Cloud9 split push once again with the 1-3-1, and Apex, they've actually set up a 1-3-1 to try to counter it. Apollo in the top, and Ray is answering Jensen in the bottom.
Keen has now finished up a pretty powerful part of his build. The Rylai's with the perfect hex core means your ultimate moves faster as well as slowing. It's very hard to actually get out of this, but Impact going into alt bot lane.
Yeah, he's going to try to kill. Oh, Impact is going in onto Jensen. There goes Azonia's Ray. Drops, misses the equalizer. He's going to go down in just a second. No, the rest of his team collapses, but Cloud9 are rushing towards the Baron on the opposite side as 3 Smoothie and Meteos shredding through. Apollo will head there, and Cloud9 back away.
Yeah, they got it back away. Maybe could have snuck it, but Impact and Jensen pull the trigger. Jensen actually ults forward while Impact is ulting onto him to close the gap, but the equalizer does not miss. Ooh!
Meteos is almost getting solo killed by Shrimp. There goes the teleport. Impact is going to catch up. And Jensen actually is the one who leads the charge forward. Double teleport as Cloud9 are trying to play this global composition.
That's a lot blown, though, by C9 in the last minute or two, and they didn't really get much. So both their TPs blown, both their global ultimates blown. All they really got was a flash from Ray and his ultimate. So a good job by Apex. They're going to take down the mid lane turret, and now they have a little bit of time where C9 does not have this kind of map dominance, where they can't just move around the map so much more than their opponents. And this is going to feel pretty good here for Apex.
Yeah, that mid-tier 1 finally goes down. It's still only a 3,000 gold difference between the two, so Apex don't let themselves get pulled apart by Cloud9's split map movements and are able to defend and effectively counterattack and take down that turret. So 28 minutes in, Cloud9 still up in kills, still up in Drakes, but haven't been able to crack down into the inhibitors just yet. And Apex continue to wait it out and look for that perfect team fight.
The Dragons are really the big deal so far. That is their main advantage. As far as the kills, as far as the gold, a lot of that is kind of evened out by the team fighting strength of Apex. So it's going to be on Cloud9. They need to look for picks. They need to be able to execute at a very high level, where Apex needs to just have their resources allocated properly, not get pulled apart by the split push, really kind of group and look to get those big team fight wins. And, you know, the Baron Pit is a great place to do it. Although C9 is looking to kind of bait them in and make them face check, if C9 gets trapped in the pit against this AoE, it could be really bad.
They've actually found Shrimp. He tosses some damage over the wall. He's going to be spotted out. Cloud9 have got triple pink wards to save uptime on those sweepers, just to control complete vision over this river.
And in full vision denial on the Baron right now. You can see the swap was made by Apex to 3 blue trinkets, so they want to be able to kind of rotate these in, continually check on the Baron, make sure that they're not taking it. But that is the last one that was just used, so now C9 immediately starts up the Baron. They've been tracking this.
Yeah, it's down to about 5,000 health
gone
already. It's getting burned, and Apex can't respond quick enough. Shrimp is over the wall, but it's secured by Cloud9. Shrimp is so tanky, though. He's soaking a lot as Jensen zones away the rest from the side. Cloud9 pick up the first kill of this as Jensen drops the Destiny Gate. Keen gets caught, but Jensen has found Apollo in the back. Exhaust denies some damage, and Apollo is able to kite it out. Finally, he will go down. Ray gets onto the back line of Sneaky, though, before he finally drops, and Jensen continues to dive forward. Another kill for Sneaky, a gold card onto Keen. They drop it, an ace for Cloud9.
Yeah, 5 for 2 for Cloud9. They get the Baron. Huge for them. They should be able to push down mid, clean up that last outer turret. We'll see if they can get more or if they're just going to try to play it slowly, but at least going to be able to pick up this turret, start getting the waves pushing, and this is going to be massive for their split push.
Yeah, absolutely enormous. We'll see if they can break down any inhibitors. This tier 2 finally going to drop Ray. Shrimp has respawned, so he's heading back down that mid lane. He will be able to catch this wave, but he's up against 2. Yeah, decides not to take any chances, and Cloud9, with Meteos dying, they decide to reset.
Yeah, so here is the fight, and Apex is actually there pretty quickly, but the key moment, look at Keen. Keen is actually so far away from them. He's not able to contribute to this fight at all, and when he comes in, he actually misses a lot of abilities. So, you know, he doesn't really catch the laser there. Then he goes on to Meteos, and Meteos drops the Lamb's Respite. Out of this, Keen actually whiffs another E, and he had a pretty rough fight for himself, and he was showing up relatively late. So it's one of those things where Cloud9 was there first, they got the advantage, but Apex didn't really get to make full use of their teamfight comp, of their AoE, because they didn't have the 5-man squad there. Keen was late to the party, and then was not able to hit a lot of his skill shots.
And with that Ocean Drake, it's the 4th for Cloud9. Teleport's just about ready for impact, so seems like we're probably going to see that 1-3-1 once again, as Ray is already on that top side, trying to get the wave out of there. Baron buff still on Sneaky, Jensen, and Impact. And those are the 3 lanes that they're pressuring.
Yeah, they're just going to spread out the Baron buffs. Impact getting a little bit of vision for himself, making sure he's going to be safe. He does not want to get picked off. That is really the key for Apex, is they're going to try to collapse on these side lanes, get kills, and be able to hold on that way. Because if all 3 lanes get pushed to their turrets with the Baron buff on them, it gets very difficult to actually clear this out. So Apex is going to have to pick their moment. They're going to have to decide, when do we hard engage? Who do we go for?
Yeah, something you mentioned earlier was that they don't have to, they should not overcommit their resources and let themselves get pulled apart by Cloud9. In that fight, That's exactly what we saw. They tried to fight the Baron, but they just didn't have enough people there, and they didn't find the team fight they were looking for, which is why Cloud9 were able to punish. But they might be face-checking a bit too far. Meteos, there's the Stand United and the Respite, and immediately Apex back out. Those are two big summoners, but Shrimp is caught over the wall. There goes the Equalizer on top of the Fisher, and they're going to be able to drop Shrimp. Meanwhile, Sneaky and Shrimp, oh my gosh, oh, he survives. The ace in the hole is not enough. And C9 take one.
They take one, but very close to that fight being able to go the way of Apex. A lot of summoners blown here on both sides, and the AoE ultimates did come down, but thankfully for C9, they're still pretty healthy. They're pushing in. They have the Baron buff, and Shrimp is down. Apex did get a little bit of time to heal up, though.
Yeah, you can see Cloud9 are trying to regenerate with double Ocean Drake, whereas Apex have got their base right there. So Home Guard going to help reinforce just a little bit faster. And the split push is denied by Apex, catching Cloud9 out of position.
Yeah, Apex actually did a really good job not losing any turrets past that mid lane tier 2 that they lost right off the Baron take. So they do not get their base cracked open. They hold on, and this is really what they're trying to do. They're trying to get more and more time for their members to scale up and really become those team fight beasts. We saw how close Apollo was to taking out Sneaky. Another item or two, he maybe is able to do that. We have the 80% crit Caitlyn already online. A lot of key items coming in here for Keen and Ray as well. The Rylai's, we have the Zonias as well for Ray, and Lichbane has been completed for Keen, so he's going to have that massive burst on his Q auto.
Very big spikes as Apex are keeping themselves in this. Baron buff has worn off, and Cloud9 reset yet again. Slowly but surely whittling Apex down, but as you mentioned, they haven't lost that critical inhibitor yet, and they still could turn this game around with one big team fight.
One of the tough parts for Apex is that the next dragon is actually going to be Elder. So when the Elder Dragon does spawn, C9 has 4 dragon buffs. Apex is basically forced into a situation where they have to try to deny it, but even if they get it, they get very little from taking it because they don't have any bonuses to multiply, they don't have any additional true damage, so it's going to give C9 multiple chances as this game goes longer to really kind of get those advantageous fights and to force their advantage of having taken these 4 dragons.
Very strong buff. We'll see if Cloud9 will be able to take it as they return back to the exact same strategy that they've tried before, but Apex are already prepared. They've got Ray defending bottom. This time it's Apollo and Xpecial in the mid lane, catching minions, and Keen in the top, but they've finally grown wise to the split push. Now Baron's up in 90 seconds once again. Cloud9 reset, get some more wards, continue to fight over vision. They could be looking to take that relatively soon and try to close out a little bit more effectively. Yeah, and the Elder Drake is actually going to be up only 45 seconds after that Baron spawn, so Cloud9 could even try to bait between the two with the double globals.
He's still sitting at 100% kill participation. It's pretty impressive.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he is.
He has been involved in absolutely everything C9 has done this game. He's up a massive amount of CS, 90 over Apollo, and has been pretty beastly. 4 completed items for him, a full item up on Apollo. So Apollo has a lot of catch up to do, and Sneaky's ricochet bounces in these team fights are going to be very threatening, especially on those squishy targets in the back line. Special, a bounce or two catches him, he's probably just going to die.
Yeah. Currently 2 levels ahead of Apollo, 5 levels ahead of Xpecial. Seeing some big advantages for Cloud9 as they continue to pressure across multiple lanes. Jensen in the bottom with Teleport and Destiny Gate. Impact now going to group up with the rest of his team.
Yeah, Jensen's level 18. He's sitting on a fully completed build already. He's a full item up on Keen also. So these are some very powerful members for Cloud9, but they are pretty much capped out. The longer the game goes past this moment, the closer Apex is going to get to them.
Oh, and they've caught Shrimp. He's trying to check out vision for the Baron and gets destroyed by Cloud9. Ray gets in. Huge equalizer goes down, but there is not enough. The Respite waits out the AoE. Quick heal for Cloud9 as they get 2 kills.
Yeah, they do get 2 kills. They're going to go straight for the Baron and should be able to pick this up. No chance of contest for Apex. 3 members down. A massive equalizer did come through from Ray, but not enough. Kindred there to deny it.
Yeah, Apex not able to find that team fight. It was too little too late. And with Baron secured, Cloud9 once again have got control, and there are pings now on the Elder Dragon.
Yeah, long respawn timers, but here is that fight once again. Apex forced into the face check. Shrimp gets caught. He's going to go down very quickly here. Nice Braum ultimate comes in from Smoothie, and now it's Ray's turn. He turns around a massive amount of damage. You can just see the HP bars melting on C9, and this is a fight that could have been won from Apex had it not been for Meteos being there, and now Apex not in position to take the Elder Dragon. They have way too long on their respawn timers. Cloud9 picks it up, and this is their moment to close out the game. Yep. They have Baron buff. They have the Elder Dragon with that 4-stack burn. They're going to be incredibly powerful. This is really the strongest Cloud9 will ever be in this game.
Yeah, 225 bonus true damage for every tick of damage you apply to an opponent. Cloud9 have got the opening to end the game right now. 38 minutes in, they're pressuring forward. Impact is going to pick up one final item as he groups up with his team. They want to still take their time with this. You can actually see the Baron buff minions being the ones to shred through the turret, not Cloud9 themselves.
Yeah, Apex has good wave clear. They're doing a really good job setting up the trap lines, but Cloud9 will simply move to the bot lane where they have a big wave, and they're going to get right up onto this turret. Watch how fast it's going down.
Huge damage from Cloud9. Impact actually charges in and blocks it.
Here we
There
go.
goes on the hunt. Cloud9 chase Apex back, but they still don't commit. They've dropped an inhibitor. They've caught Xpecial, and Xpecial goes down. Finally, Cloud9 clean up that middle inhibitor. As Meteos is a little split off from his team. He's got a Guardian Angel, though. There goes Impact charging forward. Jensen gets a stun before being stunned himself, as Shrimp will drop. Apollo's already dead to a triple kill of Sneaky. Still 100% kill participation, and Cloud9 are going to drop the Nexus. There's the equalizer, but it is too little, too late, and Cloud9 will take game number 1 over Apex Gaming.
Meteos with the casual 1v4 on the bottom side of that fight.
Yeah.
Says, where's the team at? Everyone comes in, they clean up the kills, they clean up the game, and this was a fantastic game 1 performance from Cloud9.
Yeah, very good performance. Playing the macro plays, playing the communication. We can just move around the map more effectively and more efficiently. In Apex, despite a couple of good answers, we're not able to execute the team fight that they were looking for. Cloud9 just took too much.
Yeah, Cloud9 never gave them the chance to really execute their comp. They always controlled vision. They were the ones choosing which fights to take, which fights not to take. And because Apex always had to fight on Cloud9's terms, they were at a big disadvantage in those fights. And Cloud9 takes out all the dragons. They get 2 Barons. They get the Elder. They never overcommit. They slowly kind of just bleed out the game. And once they have those ultimate buffs, those late game buffs, they're able to absolutely destroy Apex.
Yeah, some very good shot calling out of Cloud9 to continue moving around the map. And, you know, I'm a little curious. We've seen Smoothie play with Sneaky to huge effect, and they won the game pretty convincingly, but you got to wonder, is it going to happen again, or is it going to be Bunny Fufu?
I think Bunny's probably going to be coming back in just based on the trends. We do see them swapping back and forth very quickly, and I think that this is a game that they'll feel pretty happy about. You know, the performance from Smoothie was very, very good, but at the same time, you know, Bunny has an even better record in the LCS so far than Smoothie does, so it's not like he has been underperforming by any means.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. But now to go over everything we just saw in that Cloud9 win, let's send it back to Dash and our analysts.
Insta pops GBM after early gank here. Doublelift gets a nice culling onto him. And
as this play rolls out, we are going to welcome the audience coming from the Apex and C9 game, where C9 comes out victorious in the first game of the series. Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay, James.
I know. But now, if you want to close out your point just about Bjergsen being unlocked to roam.
Yeah, he was constantly in the bot side jungle, in the bot lane, making TP plays and roaming to get his bot lane ahead, who were already winning as well. I think they have a lot of pressure just in general between those 2 lanes in the bot side, and they were able to capitalize that to basically grab, I think it was like a 3K gold lead at 9 minutes.
9 minutes, 2K gold lead.
2K, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's massive, right?
Yeah.
2K goal lead, 9 minutes. TSM is in a very comfortable position at that point. We jump ahead to 13 minutes into the game. A 3 for 2 in favor of TSM in the top lane. Everyone got involved in this very extended fight.
This is actually going to be a Bjergsen turnaround kill.
This is different.
This is another just example of Bjergsen just taking over.
Right. This is Rise.
Yeah. No, it's Bjergsen taking over. It's not Rise. But yeah, there he picks up a kill in a situation where you think he's in trouble, and it's just like one of those things that's amazing to see. We see Oki will come in here and help
Extended
turn
fight,
this back.
Energy will get one back on Bjergsen,
Right.
but still the power of Rise.
Well, the big thing about this play is that if you're looking at the mini-map, TSM's bot lane is completely oblivious to all of this, and they're just like, we're just going to actually play the game that we know how to play. Just take 2 turrets for that. And they come out with a big turret lead and gold lead that is even more massive, which just proved towards the end of the game and mid-game how Energy was just so focused on the team fighting and kills, which they were unable to perform properly, but TSM just kept one step ahead with the macro game, and that's how they have been against almost all their opponents.
Right, the replay that we didn't get to see, 13 minutes in the top lane, was 3 for 2. On the back end of that, we see TSM with a 5K gold lead at around 14-minute mark. So that seems astronomical. Most of the time you see that kind of lead, you say, well, this game's going to be over soon. So credit to Energy, where they did actually extend the game quite well. We saw Quas put up a decent performance on that Vladimir, showing some fancy footwork, even in a 1v1 against Bjergsen in the bot lane. And, you know, at that point, when we get to this stage of the game, there was some fear about the late game prowess of Energy's team composition and how they might be able to take this game with some solid Twitch ultimates.
Right, I mean, the team comps are actually pretty interesting where TSM is a really low-range team. They have to get into this Twitch and Anivia to do anything, but at the same time, Energy's comp lacks any serious front line that's going to, like, lock down these people running at them.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, just exactly how does the team fight start? Because once like, if they get onto them, it's over. If they don't get onto them, it's over the other way. So it was kind of one of those situations. Here we just have Quas running in circles, barely staying alive, gets the last kill off.
Soraka,
970 burst healing. You saw it pop up, and then GBM's like, "Oh, I guess I'll show up and help."
That was a Warmog's Vladimir at the time.
Quas built full tank the
Spirit
whole
versus
game.
Warmogs.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
love it.
No, I love it.
I love it.
I'm not loving it.
I love it. As a guy, as someone who plays Vladimir a lot, I absolutely love that he built that. Yeah, Banshee's on top of all of it, getting all of his AP from his health and that utilizing that passive. Either way, that was more of a fun replay to kind of show the scaling capability and that fun 1v1 between the two. At the end of the day, though, TSM does come out on top of it all. The player of the game in that series is going to be Bjergsen, 5, 3, and 8 on that Rise on your screen now as we speak. You know, for him, a lot of it was the fact that he was so active and a part of that early game in building that 5K gold lead at 13.
I love the evolution of TSM, where before it's to port all the resources onto Bjergsen, and now it's Bjergsen. How can I help my teams? How can I spill my advantage into the jungle, into the bot lane, into top? And we've seen that throughout all their series. People are trying to help each other out instead of having their team come to them, and you know that's really a really good sense of how to play a team game.
Right, I think that's the most impressive thing to me. When Honster has the lead, he's going mid. When bot lane has the lead, they're going mid. When mid has the lead, he's going bottom, and they're always connected. And we saw that top lane fight that we didn't get the replay of. TSM's bot lane is just bot lane.
They're actually
a
bot
long fight top lane. They just run all the way across the map to join in because they're all just, hey, if we can get there in time to contribute, let's go.
All right, well, that does it for Game 1 of the TSM and Energy series. TSM obviously victorious once again. They do have a little bit more time to gear up for Game 2. We'll see if Energy can run it back, extend it to a Game 3. Time now, though, for us to switch gears, talk about this C9 victory over Apex in roughly 39 minutes. This one, again, we have high expectations for the Cloud9 roster as they continue to swap their support in and out. Smoothie playing this one. Very solid victory for them. We did, of course, see Apex make a few moves to try and stick into it, but it almost seemed like C9 had control across the board for the majority of this game.
Right. I mean, early on, we saw that Apex went to go pressure a wave top to try and get on the Shen, but what Cloud9 did to counter was go Dragon. And I think what Apex was thinking with Rek'Sai ult and having the Rumble push the wave and the Shen wouldn't want to join, and maybe they can contest the Dragon. But when they go down there, all they do is Shrimp goes for a steal, and they get turned on, they give up a kill, and their top play is successful, their bot contest isn't successful, and they start kind of falling behind from there.
And you know, we've seen this happen a lot of times to Shrimp, that he keeps tunneling on the steal instead of focusing on the play around the objective, and the team is left fighting a 4v5 after all these, when they're behind the tempo. Instead of looking for just continuously trading objectives, they keep kind of trying to come back in what they've lost already, and that's never going to work.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at some of that early game action. 13 minutes into the game around the blue buff. C9 going to come out on top of this one, 4 for 1 in kills.
Yeah, they initially try and get a pick on the Meteos. They flash out, and then here's where you kind of see C9's comp. They have really strong chase down with Sivir, Karma, not Sivir Karma, Sivir TF, and they're able to collapse on things. So after that initial pick fails, the rest of C9 just shows up out of nowhere. They also have the Shen for another global, and you know, Apex just caught out position in the enemy jungle.
A big thing about that fight is that when the chase started, Apollo was a tribe rush in his own lane. He's just barely walking up there, and you know, Apex is not really being very mindful of where the team is, and you see the beginning of the fight be a 3v5 for about 10 seconds, and there's no champions that you could have in your arsenal that are going to allow you to win that fight and let your AD carry catch up. So, you know, being content with getting chunk is good. Is a very good thing. You got a flash, you got a chunk. Now is the time to maybe we can dive middle, maybe we can pressure bottom. Jungler's disabled for like 30 seconds. Maybe we can do something with that. So a little bit more patience and presence of mind is what I'd suggest for Apex.
Yeah, seeing red and going for it, that's what they were doing. Now, of course, that did set C9 up to a nice early lead, but the game really broke away for them at that 28-ish minute mark. Cloud9 is going to pick up an ace after finishing off the Baron here. Of course, Shrimp, again, he's going in for that objective, doesn't quite get it. I'm going to pay dearly for it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's a 5v4 with the rest of your team running away. And like we mentioned before, the chase down of this team is incredible. So they're going to have Jensen poured in behind to cut off the escape. Meteos is off on the side, living forever with his ultimate. And the rest of Apex is just getting cleaned up. They're able to pick up a couple kills, but it's not nearly enough at this point in the game.
All right, well, that's going to move us to our player of the game for this series as the rest of this replay rolls out. Sneaky's going to snag it, 8-0-12 on Sivir, 100% kill participation. Wow. So I get, you know, that's... Go figure.
It does, you know, a global composition with Shen and TF. You're expecting all the plays to come to the bot side. So
very much so.
Very well executed by having that kill participation.
Yeah, so it speaks to them playing their comp the way it should be played if he does have that 100% kill participation. And one final note, surprise, surprise, game 2, Bunny Fufu coming back in. So once again, Cloud9 continuing with the support swap, more informational than anything. But you know, given the fact that we are moving into this game 2, I actually want to ask you guys from Apex's side, how do you attack this C9 roster, especially given the fact that once again you're thrown in this wrench here at the last second. Now you've got to deal with a changing bot lane as well.
For me, I don't think the changing bot lane's too much to worry about. They have somewhat similar champ pools, and they have different strengths and weaknesses. We've heard Smoothie's a little stronger in lane, but I think the thing for me, if I'm Apex, is looking at now that we're red side, can we get Ray on something better? They tried to counterpick the Shen with the Rumble, but Rumble's okay. You see it a little bit in Korea, but I don't think it's exactly like the take over the game kind of top lane carry that we're used to seeing him on.
Where's the Fizz at?
Yeah, like a Fizz or something. So I think maybe going with a counter pick on red side that actually can snowball more on its own than as like a team fighting carry.
All right, well, we're going to head to a break while our teams reset for Game 2. Stick around for TSM versus Energy on NALCS 1 and Cloud9 against Apex over on NALCS 2. We'll be right back in 3.5.
You said tunnel.
Does anyone know the lyrics from Hello Adele? Hello.
It's me.
Nope, never sing here, or it instantly goes into the mic check thing. No singing before game.
He's trying to solo it. Who's going to get it? It's Meteos. He's taking a lot of damage.
Double ultimate's coming in from Cloud9.
Shrimp has no ultimate. He's tagged, knocked up, and stunned. First blood, Cloud9. As Apollo drops as well. 5-1, Cloud9. They're not even done. It's going to be a chase for Jensen. He's found Nick Special. Flash boomerang, and Cloud9 take 4.
Rumble's dead, Rumble's dead.
Victor no sums, Victor no sums.
Karma? It's just Victor, it's only Victor
No
now.
sums, no sums.
Only Victor. Guys, good job, guys.
And Cloud9 will take game number 1 over Apex Gaming.